Welcome back to the Yoga Chat. I'm your host, Montana.
I'm your host, May. I'm
And
excited.
I'm excited too. We have a really amazing host. We have a really amazing guest. I'm starting strong. Today, as always, the one and only Taryn Boyd. Taryn has been practicing yoga on and off for about 10 years or so since 2015. She's from Pittsburgh, the South Hills, the last 35 years, but Texas before that, and currently in Mount Lebo. And a fun fact about Taryn is that she danced on stage with her favorite singer-songwriter. So we need to know who that is. But first, hi, Taryn. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks
we're
for
so
coming.
excited.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite singer-songwriter that you got to dance on stage with?
Um, Justin Towns Earl, who is no longer with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
how
So,
did that come about?
so, um, I have like been obsessed. Well, I'm like a huge music lover and have just like found his music. I don't even know, like a long time ago. And being like that, I kind of like I've always liked more like indie type music. And then like I started getting like into like with my like I think Southern roots, like more like a country, but not like mainstream
Not
country.
Morgan Wallen country.
Yeah, yes. So like anyway, I had like seen him in concert a bunch of times. And then in 2019, my husband and I went and saw him here in Pittsburgh, and it was like such a good show. And I just like felt like the need to see him again. And so I one of my close friends lives in Alameda, which is near San Francisco, California. So I flew out there, and my brother-in-law had been like, oh, like he started like coming out into the crowd and like dancing. And I was like, oh, I hope he chooses me. I hope he chooses me.
Oh my God.
So he came. So anyway, I'm in San Francisco, and he had like come around like the other side of like where I was, and he was dancing, and I was like all sad. I'm like, oh, like it's not gonna be me. And my friend's like, just like go cut in. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go cut in. So like I walked over and like tapped him on the shoulder, and I'm like, can I cut in? And he like looked me up and down, and he's like, oh, darling, you're coming with me. And so he like pulled me like around, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I have it all, I have it all on video. I'll share it with you guys privately. But
I've
anyway,
seen it. It's great.
it was so awkward because like the band was just like playing like music, and it wasn't like a song that like you're like dancing to. So I'm like, what do I do? And then he like we're dancing on stage, and then he goes over to the microphone, and I'm kind of like, what am I gonna do? And so I'm just like kind of like dancing, and then I'm like, I really feel dumb. So anyway, I start to walk off stage, and he like was like, I'll find you afterwards or whatever. And I'm like, cool, dude. And then like I hopped off stage. But yeah, it was fun. And then he died. Like that was like his last tour. COVID happened, and he's always kind of struggled. So he died. So I felt good about that, being able to have that moment.
Yeah, I like went, there were so many emotions while you were telling that. I'm like laughing and then like I feel uncomfortable. And then at the end, I like have goosebumps and I'm like, aw,
Yeah.
RIP. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's weird. This is going to be so weird to say. And I can't believe I'm saying this on a recorded something. But I'm like, the fact that he's no longer with us makes that story like endearing and like
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Heartfelt.
I don't know. It's really weird. Like this is like I'm not like maybe it's just I don't know. I just like had always like, just really connected with his music, and my friend was over, and I was like doing she was helping me with something in the house, and my husband and my oldest were like in the other room, and my husband's like, Taryn, you need to come here. And
Oh,
immediately when he said it, I was like, I- Justin Townsend died.
you like
Like
knew.
I go, what? Just tell me. And he's like, and then he told me, and I was like, I knew it. Like it was weird that I knew he
Yeah.
like died. Yeah.
Yeah. Some like energetic connection there for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Mm.
How
Oh,
old was
darling, you're
he?
coming with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd
How,
you say, Meg?
how old was he?
He was 39. I think he was just shy of his 40th birthday.
Oh,
Jeez.
Yeah, really sad. He
yes,
had a little
tragic.
girl he left behind, so it's
Oh,
really sad. His dad is like super famous. Steve Earle, he does like Copperhead Road. Like,
oh, okay.
not like total. It's like a little bit more like just not my thing.
Yeah. Aw, well, no
Yeah.
good way to transition from that, but I'm not going to forget today. What are your big three? Do you know your zodiac sign?
I did, and then you didn't ask this, and I was like, what if they asked me that question? I looked it up. Hold on.
Yay.
Um, I'm a Leo.
Oh, that tracks.
Yeah, it does,
I
right?
love Leos. Yes.
Um, and then Aquarius, my moon is Aquarius,
Woo.
and my rising is Libra.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's a really fun. When's your birthday?
August
August?
17th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like I always say this when we have a Leo on here. Most of my like closest longtime friends are Leos.
Oh, really?
Yes. My
Yeah.
bestest friend of like my whole life is August 15th.
Oh,
Um, yeah, Leos are great. So a Leo, a Gemini, and a Sag. And you said your rising is Libra.
yeah.
Yeah, which also tracks. I think that's what Callie was last week.
Yeah, she
Was
Or
the
was.
maybe
same
She
her
had
as
her
moon.
rising.
me? Those three things?
No, just
Oh, right.
the
Okay.
yes, just the rising. But anyways, that's fun. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. And
Yeah.
thanks for looking it up. I love that we have enough episodes now that most people come on, they're like, I looked it up because I had a feeling you'd ask. I'm like, yeah,
You
as
know,
long as we don't forget, we do.
I had a friend that had like a reading and got me like, what are those beads?
The mala beads?
Yes. So she was like lived in Denver and she was like, I want to do this for you. And she had it recorded and like had given me these three things and like gotten me mala beads and the whole thing. And it was really interesting to hear the reading.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
There's this psychic in Pittsburgh. Her name's Rhonda, and in my phone, she's just Rhonda Medium. And I met her through a friend a few years ago, 2022 or three. And my friend, the reason why she's like extra crazy and awesome is because she not only can connect people that on the other side, but she can connect people that are still in your life right now. And so my friend went and saw her and she brought me up and talked about this very specific occurrence that like most people in my life don't know about and my best friend does. And she's like, Montana, she brought you up and she knows about this. I was like, holy shit, I have to go see this woman. So I did. She brought it up with me too. And I was like, yes, this is why I'm here. And I'm going to see her again on Monday.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to ask her to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We had Dominique Ponko on the podcast who owns Yoga Flow, and
Mhm.
she's like extra into like all that stuff, like more than anyone else I've ever known. And she's like, I've been to all the psychic conventions, I've been read by the best of the best. And she was like, Rhonda is by far top tier, creme of the crop. She's the girl. And I'm like, wow, well.
Now,
So
now I feel like I want to see her.
I'll send you her
Same.
info. I'm very excited to go back like 2 years later and see like what's said.
What she's got to
Um,
say.
but yeah, all right. Well, shifting gears a bit. So Taryn, will you tell us and our listeners where you come from, a little bit about your background and ultimately what led you onto a yoga mat?
Where I come from.
I want to know what part of Texas.
Oh yeah. So I actually was not even born in Texas. I was born in Alabama. But had like
I know
moved,
that.
yeah, like moved to Texas before I was even a year old. Um, and my dad worked for US Steel, so we lived in three different places in Texas, outside of Houston and then to Dallas and then back into Houston, more specifically Katy. I won't tell you the first place that we lived in Houston.
Mm, yeah.
Like you go back, you hear about it now and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, moved to Pittsburgh when I was almost in middle school. And grew up in the South Hills. Um, and went to college at University of Pittsburgh and never left. It is a like I like kind of wish I would have. But just never did it.
We're too late.
I mean, I'm hoping my kids pick some cool city and they're in the same city and my husband and I can just follow them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
That's what
pressure to them.
my
Just-
mom wanted, but my brother, we all went to different cities. And then everyone went back to Texas except me. So I'm like, Mom, you could move here. And she's like, but I hate the snow. And I'm like, yeah, I guess
Mhm.
that's different. Like coming to Pittsburgh from Texas, it would normally be like opposite.
Yeah.
People would leave Pittsburgh to go to Texas.
Yeah. I like Texas. We actually took my oldest is going to college next year, and we took him to University of Texas, and I was like, why didn't I go here?
Yes. I remember
Such
when you did that trip. Where did he pick a school yet?
no, not officially, but I think it's Penn State.
Okay, cool.
He was waitlisted at University of Texas, but it is a very difficult school to get into if you do not live in Texas.
Hmm.
It's still difficult to get into, even if you live in Texas, but it makes it extra hard if you don't. Plus, if you get in, it's only $65,000 a year.
Oh God.
It's like
So,
NYU.
Oof.
yeah, it's insane. So anyway, I think it'll be Penn State.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
So after college,
yeah.
start from there. What happened? Tell us the story of Taryn from college on.
Okay.
Cash,
Oh,
Wait,
subtle.
can I ask a real quick about Taryn in college? Were you in Greek life by any chance?
actually, nay, I was, which
Were you a tri-delt?
I was not.
Okay.
I was
I just had a feeling.
No, I was a DZ. And once I tell you why, you're like, that tracks. They were known at Pitt as Drug Zelta.
Oh, I know. I remember.
Okay.
I mean, I think I was there like probably
That
right
tracks.
around the time you were there, or maybe a little bit after, but I know you DZ girls. You have a reputation.
That's amazing.
So the only reason I really got into Greek life was because I transferred there. I got into Pitt at like when I was a senior in high school, was like had gotten hooked up with a roommate, and things were very different then, no social media, nothing like that. Was like, this girl is not for me.
Hmm.
And then I had like a I need to just like go out and just like do something different with my life. Like I need to get the hell out of Pittsburgh kind of moment. And so I decided to just like stay at home, was going to be for a year, and transfer and like go live in Arizona, which is funny because I just went to Arizona less than a year ago for the first time,
Oh my gosh.
many years later. But anyway, long story short, I ended up transferring, and I was like too cool and too old to like live in the dorm, so I like got an apartment in Shadyside with this other girl. And so I had like no way of really meeting people. I just like didn't think about it like that. So anyway, long story short, I decided, and I found my people.
Yeah.
Went to fish
May,
shows and
yeah. May, were you in Greek life at University of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I didn't join till junior year. Like one day, I was like, I'm bored. I've done stuff and I want to do something different. So, I was talking to some girlfriends and we were like, let's join like a really small sorority that's like quote unquote like nerdy or dorky and like turn it cool, which is like giving
Like House
ourselves
Bunny.
it's kind of like giving ourselves a lot of credit because we really weren't that cool, but we drank a lot, so I guess we thought we were cool. So we just called one of the sororities up and we were like, "Hey, can we rush?" And they were like, "Sure." So they just invited us up, and like we invited all the girls from the floor of my dorm, and that rush group was like we were nightmares. We drank and partied, and we did sort of good things for them, but also we were mostly just menaces. But I'm still friends with all of them. So like I don't regret it. I still like talk to all of them. Some of my closest friends that live in the city still to this day. It was 80 Pi, Alpha Delta Pi. Yeah. They're big down south. They're very blonde and very like we're like beautifully because I follow some of them on Instagram. Some of the southern chapters are like
Yeah.
Gucci head to toe. They are whatever. And we were just kind of disaster people. So very different, but yeah, Alpha Delta Pi. I remember DZ. They were bad bitches.
Drugs, yeah.
They would have been like my second choice probably because they were just, they had the reputation of just being fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that both of you, I mean, Taryn, you were from the South originally, but you came to Pittsburgh like so in middle school. I'm born and raised in the South, and you two are both sorority girls, and I'm not.
I know, which is crazy because like,
It's,
I feel like sororities they're way more popular in the South.
they are,
Big
but I
time.
came to school in Pittsburgh, so that's why. Like,
Okay.
and yeah, I
Did you
thought I
go
was
to
too
school in
cool.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I went to Point Park. That's what brought me here.
Oh, for
Yeah.
dance.
And I was, yeah, for dance. I was
Okay.
like, I went to a performing arts high school. And so I was like trying to be that like artsy indie girl. And I was like, oh my God, all of my friends who are staying in the South and rushing Tridel are so lame. I'm going to go smoke my weed, even though I hate being high. That was me.
I feel
Oh
like
man.
did you dye your hair black at some point?
It was dark brown. Yeah.
Okay. I could
Yeah.
see
You can
that.
see it. You can see it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually did it twice. I did
Yes.
it once, like when I was like end or beginning of high school, and then I did it a second time right after I met Matt, who's now my husband. Literally, it was like I met him in February, and in October, I think I was like, I don't know, I wanted to prove to myself that even if I had dark brown hair, he'd still like me. And I did it. And the craziest part is Jessica Lowry, who used to go to Yoga 6, did dyed my hair brown for me. And she should have said no.
She
Oh,
should have said
actually,
no.
I bet you
Calling her
it's
out.
so pretty brown because you have blue eyes.
Well, thank you. First off, I think that like I like it the day it's done, but because my hair is actually naturally like almost reddish, strawberry blonde, it fades to like orange really
Oh,
quickly. And then it's just
yeah.
not, yeah.
Yeah.
As my like little pokies are sticking out right now. Anyways,
Sorry,
so
we keep
Taryn,
interrupting you, Taryn.
yeah, tell us
Can
about
I
your
just
life
interview
after
you
college.
guys? Tell me
Yeah,
more about you guys.
yeah. Taryn's like, I'm actually the host today.
When I
All
go
right,
to
so tell us
therapy, I like try to, it's like so hard for me to like not ask my therapist questions. You know
that
what I
makes me feel better. I'm like, oh, this is Taryn asking us questions, not us trying to talk about ourselves.
No, I think it's just I just am very much of like I'll give you a little bit
You're
of me and then
curious.
you want like I wanna like I like a lot of back and forth. And you know, if I end up not liking a person, like have you ever walked away and been like, I don't know, I just like didn't vibe with that person. You know why? It's because they didn't like ask me questions about myself.
Yeah,
Like I need a back and forth.
Back and forth.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Anyway.
definitely.
Okay, so
Oh, so
after you were a dirty DZ girl, and
yes.
then
So
you became a nice young lady,
yes.
I
So,
assume.
we're gonna like fast forward through time. Basically never knew what I wanted to do with my life. Um, was like in different kinds of sales. Then I'm a photographer, newsflash. And that's what I do now. But like I had always like even when I was at Pitt, there was like Pittsburgh filmmakers, like I would take classes there. I just always like absolutely loved photography. Um, and then like my husband just kind of helped he's like I'm like he just has always like fostered that like my love of it. Like when we were side note, we found out we were having Jonas, my oldest, before we were even engaged. So he was like a little beautiful surprise baby. And my husband, like that year for Christmas, got me, like Pittsburgh Filmmakers was still around. He had gotten me a membership there. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, what a beautiful gift. But I'm not going, like, I'm pregnant and I have way too many like other things on my mind. So it was like a really sweet gift. And then a couple years after we had our second baby, now married at this point, he bought me my first like professional camera. I actually found the recording of it the other day. It's I'm bawling my eyes out. It was like such
Oh,
like I actually want to do like a little reel with it. Like
yeah.
I suck at content stuff, but anyway, it was really cool. So anyway, I just like started doing this and I've been a photographer now for 13 years. and have two babies and a bunch of fur babies and still live in the South Hills of Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh.
What was it
Fun
like being
fact, she
go
did
ahead.
Eric Latang and his family. I just had to throw that out there because I was clicking your stories once. I was like, holy shit, Taryn took pictures of Eric
Oh,
Latang
that's
and his
cool.
Chris
family.
Letang. Chris Letang.
Chris, oh my God, Eric Latang. What the fuck am I talking about? Chris Latang. I should be in Pittsburgh
Little
jail. Okay, I'm
time.
sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no,
cool.
I've done a couple little sports local celebrities, the McCutcheons, who are just the sweetest people. Like, it's very cool to see him. He's a really, really sweet dad with his kids, very hands-on.
Oh,
Flurry before he left, and a couple other people. So it's been fun.
no big
What
deal.
was it? Yeah, no big deal. I want to know what it was like to be like, oh, my husband just got me this camera and I'm really excited to start to oh, now I have a flourishing business and I just casually photograph famous Pittsburgh sports people.
Well, I mean, like, it wasn't right away. You know, it's funny, like I believe in manifesting, but I'm not like great at the practice. And there was like back, it's probably, I think you can still access it somehow, but years ago, 15 years ago, like when Facebook came onto the scene, there was like a thing that went around and it was like 15 things you don't know about me or something.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was like, I want to start a photography business one day. I think one of them was also, I want to be a yoga instructor.
See?
And I also found something recently, not recently, it was like a couple years ago, and it was like all these like little dreams that I had, and I showed them to my husband, and I was like, look, every single one of these, except the yoga instructor one, is
Wow.
did like a thing. But anyway, going
TBD.
back. So yeah, so the photography thing wasn't immediate. I just kind of like started to do it. I like was kind of a stay-at-home mom. I worked part-time doing like marketing for this local company. Really awesome boss that was supportive. My husband was supportive, and it just kind of went from there. Um, so yeah, it's been I don't know, it's funny to like think back of like where it started and even to like look at the photos like of where it started and like what I was doing then and like now like figuring out like a lot of times when you're trying to like launch a business or figure out like what you're passionate about, you're always like, well, what's the why? What's the why? And I think like just it's like something that like over the years kind of like just developed and I think like the more that you know that the more like of an artist that you become because like you're not questioning it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
did I answer your question?
So
Yeah.
rewind back to you wanting to be a yoga teacher. Let's go back in time to A, what brought you to yoga and why you love it so much, and now how we're going to make you a yoga teacher.
Um, so I had done yoga here and there, but it was like about 10 years ago, when Yoga Flow was it was in like it was like down like past now where the Galleria was. Huge studio, tons of space, always. Um, it was such a vibe. I think I had gotten like a 3-month plan and it was in January. And that 3 months, like going through the harsh winters and going to I had another photographer friend actually that would meet me there. And um, Suzanne Nagel
Oh
was,
yeah.
yeah, she was one of the instructors there
Yeah.
and she was my favorite. Um, and it was just like it helped me get through. Not that I have like major seasonal depression, but like I think everybody who lives in Pittsburgh with all of these gray days and it constantly being dark, like we all are a little bit like uncle with it, you know.
Hmm.
And it just it absolutely it's like what shifted. It's just something shifted for me when I found like that practice and being
Yeah.
in like a hot room and like I don't know. And she was an incredible instructor.
Have you been to her class at the Ohm Lounge
No,
since? Oh my
which
gosh, we should all go together.
Yeah, we
I
should. It's
know
great.
May has shared a couple times that like when she's gone
Yeah.
there Oh, I'm dying to go.
Yeah, her Sunday
Yeah.
morning class is like a church. It's
Yeah.
good. It's real good. Um, so like would you say your whole life that you were drawn to like exercise and fitness, or was yoga the first thing that really clicked for you? And like what do you think set it apart from the other things?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was younger, I was like in dance. Um, but like when I moved here from Texas, I like was behind my closest friends, like all my, in fifth grade, and I was like in the younger class. And so after a few years, I just like quit, which like breaks my heart, but I did. Um, and then, but that was it. Like I like didn't really do much. Um, I did track, I did like cheerleading in middle school, just like little stuff, but nothing really like stuck for me as far as like consistent movement. But I've always valued movement. I was very into Pure Barre for several years. Um, I like loved cycling. I used to really like this cycling studio here. Um, and there was just like so much drama, so I stopped going. Um, and which is really sad, like to like ever know that like there can be drama associated with anything fitness,
Yeah.
Mhm.
as it should be you should just feel the exact opposite of that.
You should. I think I'm
Yeah,
not going to mention any names, but I think I might know where you're talking about.
yeah.
Um, they're not working. It's not open anymore,
I
right?
don't think so. Mm-mm.
Yeah. There was a place that I was going to for a while. It was like the first thing that brought me to back into cycle, like here in the South Hills. Was it run by a husband and a wife? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that place, and I went
It
with
was
friends.
it was
It was
amazing.
fun.
Like a club, and
It
I
was
would
super
just
fun.
like party my ass off while like on my bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were great. I love that place, but it was like if it's the same place I'm thinking of, out of the blue, everybody just got an email and they were like, "We're closing. See you
Mhm.
later." And we're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
But
when
yeah,
we're
that place was great for
yeah,
sure.
I have
It was
stories.
like the first place where I think I went. They had like great music. It was just a good vibe. But yeah, the drama, and I think there was a lot of like turmoil between instructors, and it was always very apparent, like when you were in the studio,
Yeah.
which like maybe if you're not paying attention or you're like someone that doesn't notice that stuff, it's fine. But like I notice everything. So like when I'm walking in and I see like two instructors scowling at each other behind the front desk, I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That place was great. I was bummed when it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we should take drama out of fitness because why do we need that?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, just like it travels so quickly too. And so like I don't know if you're a leader in a fitness studio and you recognize that there's negativity in one person, it's like so important to address it as soon as possible so that you can nip it in the bud because the next thing you know there's going to be like, that's how energy works. So it's like if you
Yeah.
if you let the negativity and the drama fester, then like that one little fire is going to turn into like the story. It sounds like you guys are talking about ultimately a
Yeah.
studio closing. And even if they didn't close, like it sucks that you're going in there and paying money to be there. And you're like, oh, I see like these two, like you said, fitness instructors like giving each other dirty looks. And it's like, ugh, like you said, Taryn, that's the exact opposite of how I want to feel when I'm working out. Like the
Well,
Exactly.
opposite.
well, and I will say I'm trying to decide if I can tell a story without like I won't I obviously am not going to name any names, but can
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go for
absolutely.
it.
not only was there drama like May is talking about, like between instructors and all this other stuff, they had the I don't know, and again, I don't know if it's the same studio, but
I guarantee
they
it is.
yeah,
It is.
they had this is insane. They had I'm trying to remember exactly. They were supposed to have an outdoor event and it got canceled, or a lot of people canceled because it was going to rain and nobody's going to do like, and
Yeah.
the one owner flipped out and was saying, you guys need to get off your fat asses and da 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 da, all this stuff. And so I shared on Facebook, like like I was like pissed about, like, I wasn't even signed up to go to this thing, but I was like, this is
Right.
disgusting. And like, da 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 da. Well, I don't know who shared that with him. I'm on vacation with my family and he calls my phone
Oh no.
and left
Yeah,
me a
see.
message and was like, "Hey, I heard you were talking shit." Like, and then basically was like, "Maybe you're one of those people that needs to get off your like." Yep,
I
yeah.
know.
It was
Okay.
the
I
exact.
can't believe these people exist.
They do. Why are you first of all, if you own a business, it doesn't matter what it is. You should not be airing your dirty laundry on Facebook, on
No.
Instagram. You should not be calling members. You should not be calling people fat asses. What? What?
Yeah,
Montana's losing her shit because it's so bad
yeah.
that like I can't
Called you.
Yeah, he freaking
imagine.
called me. I kind of wish I like, I mean, this was like probably, I don't know, time is like, I don't even know what time it is. But
Yeah.
like, it was probably like 10-ish. Maybe it wasn't
That
10.
is some Jerry Springer shit. Like
Oh,
Yeah, like
it's
I
absolutely.
can't
it's
imagine, like we've
ridiculous.
gotten, hundreds of rating reviews, and a fourth, not even a sixth of those, I don't know, not as many bad reviews, right? And I can't imagine, I cannot fathom being like, oh, someone just said something, whether it's a review or someone talking shit on like a South Hills mom Facebook page. Like, if you're listening to this, we know because there's people that are on those groups that send us those things. And I cannot imagine being like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to this person who posted something on Facebook about how they don't like what we said, which is clearly fucking crazy.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But yeah. And
yeah, the
also that
audacity.
recently I actually found out that the husband and wife are no longer together, clearly, because
No offense, but imagine that.
Who would have
yeah,
saw that coming? That doesn't
right,
surprise me at all.
right.
Um,
Well,
yeah, I'll have to text you after and just say the name because I'm almost positive I know who you're
everyone
talking about.
everyone that has May's number is gonna be like, is this the studio?
Yeah. But like, so what's funny about that is just like, yeah, the drama in the fitness studios. I have been either a member of or worked at so many fitness studios in the South Hills. And when I tell you, and I'm not saying this because I love Yoga Six and I work there, Yoga Six is the literal only fitness studio I've ever been a part of that people encourage each other. They don't talk shit about the members. They genuinely love their job and want to support everybody in their growth. They will encourage you to rest on days that you need to rest. They're never going to make you feel bad about yourself if you're not putting in 100% one day because we know that like we don't know what you have going on.
Yeah.
So like as much, and I say this all the time because it's like so true to me because I've seen all of it. I've been a part of some of it. It's just such a refreshing place to be where it's not even just the people who work there, but the members that I just witness them like welcoming other new people into the studio and like showing them around and just being genuinely supportive and interested in making sure everyone feels welcome. It's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. And just even talking about that, because I forgot I ever even went to that place. But as soon as you brought it up, I was like, oh my God, I remember. But yeah, it's just I don't, and I've said this so many times to Montana and a lot of people, I don't know what it is about the fitness industry that there is so many egos and there's so much drama. It doesn't make sense because we're all here because we all clearly are drawn to, you know, holding space for people in a setting where we want to support them and make them feel good and have a better day. So like what's getting lost in the sauce here that it suddenly becomes about like a
Well,
thing
my
that
my guess is because like not so much in yoga, but in fitness situations, settings, there's also oftentimes, just because this is how it is, there's like a thick divide between the people who are coming for the first time, who are like I just went to a different fitness studio today and I kind of saw this with just again, it's not to any fault to anyone, it's just what shows up. It's like they're the people that come in that, like, from my guess, like haven't moved their body in a while, were probably told to do that by someone, whether it was a doctor or a family member or whatever. And then there's the people on the other end of the spectrum who are like gym rats. I don't know why people call them that, but like they fitness is their whole life. And like very rarely in a fitness setting like that, do you see like the gray area people? Like I felt like, oh my God, I'm a gray area person. Like I'm not like them, but I also like have moved I move my body all the time. And in yoga, I feel like there's a less of a divide with that for whatever reason. So maybe that's where it comes from, is like the vulnerability of showing up to a fitness setting whenever you have been encouraged to do so by someone else, or you finally got to a point where you're like, I just need to move. Versus like the people who have been doing it forever, who then like by human nature, instead of seeing those people and being like, hey, how can I support you in getting, feeling how you want to feel? And instead it's like, look at me and how much work I've done and look how strong I am.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't like gyms. I never
Yeah.
have. That's why I never worked out. Like I never worked out before yoga. I didn't even really lift weights until yoga 6 and I started teaching sculpt and flow. And then I was like, oh, I fucking like to lift weights. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was yoga is what got me, was like my gateway drug into like other forms of fitness for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's the funny thing is that like in a weird way, yoga is the gray area. It's like you can find the gray area in every yoga modality. So like you can come as a beginner and you might walk into a really intense power flow, but you don't have to make it intense if you don't want to. And if your instructor knows what they're doing, they're going to guide you through it so you feel successful regardless of the level of which you know yoga. Whereas you can also come to an intense power flow as one of the gym rat people and get your ass kicked and
Yeah.
do all of the options that make it as intense as possible, and you're going to feel successful as well. But like if a yoga class is instructed properly, it's a giant gray area. Everybody can be doing the same things in their own way to make it adapt to them. Whereas if you're in a really intense, like I've never been to like a burn or anything like that, so I'm just throwing them out there. But like from what I see online, it looks intense. Like if I were to be someone that has no idea about fitness, I would be scared to go there. I mean, I'm scared to go there now, and
I haven't been to Burn, but I just have to say I went to Metabolic this morning, and
yeah,
don't be scared. And I've been to like
really,
F45 and it's actually a lot of fun. And they do a really
okay,
like F45, they're similar because they're circuit training. But like Metabolic today had like 5 rows, and essentially you like picked if you wanted the like lighter set all the way up to the heavier set, right? So
yeah,
like most women were in like the first and second, and most men were
yeah,
like over in the higher ones.
got it,
And so I felt like definitely supported in that way. And then with F45, I've only been once, but I like it's actually a lot of fun, I will say.
yeah,
It's less, that's why I was like no fault to anybody, because of course there's going to be fitness instructors who make you
sure,
feel that way. I think just
always,
like fitness in general as a modality is, there's just like such a divide, right? With
yeah.
people who are like, I need to do this because my blood pressure is high and whatever, or like I'm doing this because I don't know anything
I
else.
need to get my eighth ab to come out
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
It's like finally gonna pop
Well,
out.
going back a little bit, Taryn, you mentioned you were like, I like manifestation, but I'm bad at practicing it. And I can't relate to that more because um and I don't think there's anything wrong. I think there's probably a lot of value to like sitting down and doing like manifestation practices and using manifestation tools really like directly and blatantly. I've never been good at that because I don't have the patience to like sit down and journal. I've tried and I'm just like, ah.
Yeah,
So I love that like your example of like putting it into existence was that like, silly Facebook thing of 12 things you don't know about me or whatever, which I totally remember, or like your dream journal. And I just wanted to mention that like I think, you can manifest anything that you want to an extent. I just have to preface with that. But I also think that like what's meant for you is going to find you,
mhm,
especially if like you do the work to get yourself there. And so I feel like just by doing the work that's necessary to get yourself there, that is manifesting what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Um, which I think, I don't know why I felt called to bring that back up, but I just love those little, when you look back and you're like, holy shit, I didn't even mean to manifest that. But now I realize I did. And to
Yeah.
me, that's like so much more valuable, in my opinion, than being like, I journaled about this for 10 every day for 10 years and I finally got it. I'm like, that you must have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
Taryn, do you want to tell everybody how you've sort of manifested your photography career with your love of yoga and how that's
We
kind of been
blend.
what's going to be developing in that realm?
Oh, yeah. Um, well, I mean, so I'm coming with May on her um yoga retreat in May. Is it?
Yeah. May
Is
in
it
May with
In
May.
May,
Okay.
River
I was like,
Mountain,
wait,
baby.
did I just put that together? And I'm going to photograph it, which I'm really excited about. I really thrive in new, like I love walking in, like it, like I love getting, I almost always am a little nervous before every photo shoot, but I really love photographing and like new spots. Like, oh my gosh, I get to find like new spots and new light. Like I love light so much. And I just like feel in my body that you guys are gonna be like, holy shit, these are so amazing. Because
Yes,
it's gonna be amazing. They
they
just
are.
So excited that you're coming.
I am so excited. Like I don't know, like, like not this past January, but the January before, I had seriously considered doing teacher training. But I ended up having to have ankle surgery and it wasn't my time. And then I had an exceptional year last year with my business. Like I've opened up like I now photograph seniors and that's been really wildly successful. So like it like this slow time for me where I'm not photographing, I'm doing a ton of like, holy crap, like what do I need to change in my business? Because it was too much. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I love that I can like do what I'm like crazy passionate about and what I do. And then like also the other thing I'm crazy passionate about, which is obviously yoga. I love yoga so much. And I just feel like it's just going to be like, I don't know, like I just like feel in my heart that this is like just something like we don't know where it's going to go, but like I'm like, all right,
It's gonna be good.
it is going to be good.
Um, I like knew I liked Taryn right away because we have the same taste in music. And like, just like, some people you meet, you feel comfortable around them immediately. And like we're obviously already adults and we have friends. And so it's kind of like weird to like make new friends when you're a grown up and you're like, you want to be my grown up friend? Um, but so I went to the Death Cab for Cutie concert like
Oh my
last
God, this is cool.
spring
Yeah.
with some of my sorostitute friends from college.
Oh my God,
And I'm sitting there in the Pete, which is like, I don't know, seats through
huge.
13,000 fucking people. And we had not planned this by any means. And I'm just sitting there, la la la. And I turn around and these three ladies come and sit directly behind me. And it's friggin' Taryn from Yoga 6. And like I knew that like we knew each other, we knew we liked the same music, and then they just and Amy was there too, right?
Yeah, I was with
Yeah,
Amy.
Amy Bader was there, and they just plopped down right behind me. Like, what were the fucking chances? Like
Like
one in
literally not like, oh
13,000.
hey, it was
Yeah,
like
like
May
their
is
knees were in
here.
my
I'm in
shoulders.
the very next aisle directly behind her. And I
Yeah,
had bought, like, I did know May was going to be there because, we were like, obviously,
yeah, we talked about it.
right? But I
Yeah.
had no idea where she was sitting. I like actually bought tickets very last minute. I think like the day before, um,
Oh my God,
on like
Yeah,
StubHub or something. And I'm like,
I bought mine on pre-sale. So like I bought mine 6 months sooner and we just
immediately.
happened to be seated right near each other. So like it's funny because I feel like that was like a little nudge
Yeah,
from
I
the
just have to
universe.
say, May always says Montana makes me so woo woo. No, shit like that makes you woo woo. It's not me.
Well, it's
The
true. Because
universe.
now like we're yoga buds, we're music buds, and now we're gonna do yoga retreats together and she's gonna take awesome pictures and it's I don't know. So maybe like maybe this is just the beginning.
Yes.
Maybe
yes,
someday we're gonna be on a yacht in Italy drinking an Aperol spritz doing yoga.
that's
Not maybe.
100% happening.
Not
That
maybe.
sounds
Yeah.
that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, why would we do that?
I want to do
But
that
yeah,
right now.
I
let's
know.
keep manifesting a yacht in
Yeah,
Italy.
speaking of manifestation, we're talking about this right now, so it's already happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, someday we will all be
Truly.
on a retreat together, getting paid to either teach yoga or take photography. So like, what the fuck? how did we end up here?
Doing
But
what we're
yeah,
supposed to be
Listen,
doing.
so
life's fun. Isn't this great that we get to do this?
Yes.
it is. And honestly, I feel so fucking grateful that I even get to say those words and mean them,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
not many people feel that way about. And I actually just saw a quote earlier today. I was just scrolling Instagram, doom scrolling because I'm an idiot and I should have been like folding laundry or
Hey,
something,
no,
but
you saw a good quote.
I did. That's a good point. It was like something along the lines of like, imagine making the right choices and ending up with a life that you really, really want. And like, I was like, holy shit.
Imagine.
Goosebumps.
Imagine.
I
Imagine making the right choices and ending up with a life you really, really want. And like, I could not feel more grateful that I've made the choices I've made, because a lot of them were really seemingly dumb at the time. And this, knock on wood, and I don't even want to like say the words, but I feel very lucky.
Yeah.
And hopefully I don't get hit by a bus tomorrow or something.
Oh God.
Oh my God, May. Well, on that note, I saw a quote that I actually reposted from Pedro Luna, and he wrote, "Whenever I go to yoga, like halfway through the class, I look around at all the other like-minded people showing up for themselves, prioritizing health and well-being, and working hard to create and sustain the pathway to health and happiness. And that shit is really inspiring. Yoga is the gateway to so many amazing connections and experiences. This is the life, yo. Yoga is life. Get your ass to class."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I was like, and
That's a
it's so
very
Pedro
May
Luna.
quote.
It is. Get your ass to class. Taryn,
Pedro,
I want to know if you could describe like what is it? Like, why do you love yoga so much?
Yeah. Um, I think there's so many reasons. Like, first of all, like I love that. So like I'm at an age where I feel like some days I feel like my body feels great, other days my body feels horrible. I have an autoimmune thing that like kind of holds me back, and I just love that I can like show up on my mat and like no one else gives a shit what I'm doing. They don't I don't care what they're doing. They don't care what I'm doing. Like I just love that it really is for everyone. Like I see myself doing this when I'm 80.
Hmm.
Like that, oh, look at the cute like little old lady in the back. And like
That's me.
also I think there's things that like you don't like at like being somebody who like goes to yoga regularly. Like I remember a couple of years ago, my mom, like I was like taking photos of the kids and I was like squatting down and my job is very physical.
Hmm.
Or at least I make it very physical because I'm a psycho when I shoot. But like my mom and I like popped back up and my mom's like, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, do what? And she was like, just like pop up like that. And I'm like, well, you can. You have to like practice doing, like being, like doing it. And somebody who are like never in a million, I'm like 46, never in a million years did I already think that I would have like aches and pains like I do now, or limitations, or having to have ankle surgery, and things like that. You take for granted so much, like what like your body does for you. And like I think like when I initially like decided like, oh, I'm gonna work out, it was for reasons like I want to be skinny and I don't want to get
Hmm.
fat and like all this other stuff. Like truthfully, that was my motivation when I started. But now it's like I don't want to let my body go to shit. It like is here like showing up for me every day, and I need to like love my body. And that's what yoga does. It's like all encompassing in that way. It's not just physical. I think it helps me, it's like a mindfulness practice for me as well. It's um, you know, I, I don't know. Like I love like again like all of it. Like I think Yoga 6 is probably the most I've ever seen it, but I've also never been so like I don't know. I feel like I know yoga like the instructor so much better, and everybody like the wellness advisors and everybody there so well. That Yoga 6 South Hills does an unbelievable job of that. But like having like a community, I think, in yoga, and like has been, and like in like the no drama thing and the just being able, like, I love to see all of the people who come to class.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have your young girlies and you have your old your older people with very like that just like kind of hang out in the back and do what they can, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to see. So
Agreed.
yeah, I don't know. I really love it so much. And I love listening to music and moving my body. So what else could you ask for?
Exactly. That's
Dude,
goosebumps. The
that
juice.
is
Crack it, crack
listening
it.
to music and moving my body. Um,
Yeah.
we talked about this last week. A woman named Alethea in our 300 taught a class, and we just were in a goddess squat, and some fucking beat dropped, and we had to do these little shoulder circles, and it was so weird that I loved it so much. I was like, I'm just fucking moving my shoulders and there's great beat. And I was like, this is really the yoga. It's so simple, but if you're really like, and it shows how present you are in your body in that moment, that you can get so much joy out of something that looks so simple to somebody that might be looking in from a window. But like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
just completely immersed in it, and it's like that flow, that meditative feeling of just like you're lost in it, you're not thinking about anything else, and you're just fully enjoying like your
Alive.
body. Yeah, and like being there, like in that moment. It's chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
Chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
Yeah. Like I probably like hurt myself a lot because I'm like in like a pose that I shouldn't be like moving around in, and then I start dancing and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Whoops. I'm the fidgety yogi for sure. Like when
Oh
I'm
my
taking class,
gosh.
I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I get very itchy when I sweat.
ooh, itchy.
Oh my God, it sucks. Like I am
That's
like, if you I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but like I bring my own towels, like sweat towels, and I'm like,
I've never noticed.
oh
I've never
God.
noticed that either, but now it's all I'm gonna look for.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what it is. And then like, like in Shavasana, I'm like trying to be like a good student, and I'm like,
Like, it's everything. That's
yeah.
funny you say that because in a different way, I've said it on the podcast too, solid core, it gets so deep into my muscles that it makes my muscles itch. And I'm like, ah,
Can't scratch that shit.
no, you
You
just have to
gotta deal
stop.
with it.
All right. Well, the last question we always ask everyone is, do you think yoga can change the world? Yes or no, and why?
I mean, yeah. Um, and why? I don't know. I think that I think anybody can go to yoga and anybody can do it, but to be like a person who like really embodies what it's about, I'm not going to get emotional. Like seriously, like I just think like our world just like needs more of that practice. And like, yeah, like there's movement, but there's just like such a deeper meaning to it. And if more people did it, if more people like made yoga like and like took it with them in the rest of their day, like fuck yeah, it could change the world for sure. Like it's our world is just in need of some like deep freaking breathing and some yelling. And question for you guys, this is like kind of off subject, but have you guys heard about, I was recently listening to Glennon Doyle's podcast,
Hmm.
and she was talking actually with the woman who wrote that article that I sent you guys.
Yes.
And they were talking about a breathing exercise where they like felt like they had like left their body and like had these crazy weird experiences. Have you guys ever done anything like that? And do you know what the heck that's called? Because I want to do it.
There's lots of
Julie.
different, yeah, there's lots
Yeah.
of different breathwork techniques. Um, there personally, May was gonna say that Julie has done like a 2-day breathwork um like journey, literally for 48 hours. And Julie's like, you'll have to ask her about it.
Okay,
She's
well,
had a really crazy experience. I did um almost like a Wim Hof breath at a cacao ceremony,
A
and
cacao ceremony.
was like, you should look up Beats and Breath. That's who this is with. A guy named Johnny Buffalo and Christopher August. And I was like, I saw like all white. And then I was like looking, and I'm not a visual person. Like I never visualize anything ever, 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 ever. Like even if I close my eyes right now and you're like, think of green grass, it's like black. I can imagine what it's like, but I don't actually see it. It was all white. Then all of a sudden there was like this warm temple that was like moving closer to me. And then once I got to the warm temple, it turned all like cool colors and I was like shooting through outer space. Mind you, I was not on any drugs.
Yeah.
And who we talked about on our episode last week, Rick Rubin, he is like one of the most famous music producers and artists of our time. And he talks about how breath work is like his acid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why, like, I mean, I know that we get into like breathing a little bit, but I've never felt or experienced
No,
anything
not
like that in
enough.
class. And I was like, I didn't really know that breathing could do that. And every experience like that, like I've heard, has felt like it's psychedelic.
Yeah, I literally when I saw the white, I was like like literally floating in whiteness. And I was like like I was with it mentally. And so I remember thinking to myself like, "Oh, this is why people meditate. Like this is the meditation that they're talking about."
Yeah.
Not, and it's only ever happened to me once. I've had like other, like I can feel high, like but not like hallucinating. Anytime that I breathe for longer enough periods of time, I'll like I open my eyes and I wake up, I open my eyes and like colors are brighter and I literally feel like I'm high. But but yeah, that was the only time that I was like taken to a different something.
Yeah.
Julie did a workshop, the 2-day workshop, when it was like taught by some like
In
famous,
Pittsburgh.
it was in
Okay.
Pittsburgh, but it was taught by some like famous California dude where it was specifically meant like it was breath work that the intention was that you have that has psychedelic like properties. So I think she said that she full on had hallucinations while they were doing it. And she was really curious about it. She said she read about it for months and months. And when she found out they were coming, she went and she took it. And she, of course, like was skeptical because like how could breathing make you trip like you're on drugs? But she said it legitimately did. And it was like the most insane experience
And
and
healing.
yeah,
Yeah.
healing,
She
very
said that
healing.
like she had like conversations with her grandma. And
Oh,
one thing
wow.
that I remember specifically was she had a dog growing up and the dog um wasn't I don't want to share too much of Julie's story, but essentially she didn't have a good relationship with this dog. And so when she was a kid, she said she used to hide in the closet to hide from her dog. And while she was in this experience, this breathwork experience, she has had two dogs as an adult. She has Lincoln and Bentley, and I'm such an asshole, and I always forget which one has passed away and which one's alive. But I think
I think
Bentley is
Bentley
still
passed
alive.
away.
Oh, see. Well, anyways, the one that, sorry, Julie, I'm an asshole. The one that passed away was like the dog. If I remember correctly, her boyfriend had this dog before. And so the one that passed away like helped her recognize that like dogs aren't scary. So then they ended up getting a puppy together who's Lincoln. And while she was in this like hallucinating state, um, the dog who had passed away, who she loved, Bentley, I think, literally like came to her in her mind and led her, was like, follow me. And Julie followed this dog to the closet that she hid in when she was a little girl.
What?
And the dog was basically like saying with its energy, like, it wasn't the dog's fault. Like, it was your family's fault for not training the dog. Like, you have nothing to be scared of. Like, all dogs are good. Yeah. No drugs. Isn't that
Well,
beautiful?
Yeah.
let's
Julie listens to this podcast every week. It's I really hope I'm allowed to tell this story. I love you, Julie. I love you. And please make sure that you like solidify or adjust anything that I told wrong and help me remember which one of your lovely pups is still alive and which one is
I could be
with us in
wrong,
heaven.
but I think Lincoln is still alive.
Okay.
I
I don't know
think.
why I forget. I'm such a dick. Anyways,
It's
we love you, Julie.
okay.
But
She knows
yes,
we love
reach out to her. She can give you the information. They do one of these workshop ceremonies, I want to say twice a year in Pittsburgh.
Well, was she getting certified to teach that, or was she just experiencing it?
She signed up because she thought it was a certification.
Okay, got
And
it.
she thought Presley was doing it. So she's like, sure, I'll do it with you. And then lo and behold, she had no fucking clue what she was getting herself into. And she was like, she was like, it helped her heal like past trauma.
Jeez. Well,
That's
there we
amazing.
go. Breath
And
is
for like
fucking powerful.
hours at a time. And she was like, whenever you hear like, oh, you're gonna, so one, if you like watch someone, you support someone, and then you switch roles and they support you. And she was like, the thought of breathing for 6 hours makes me feel like, what the fuck? And she was like, but then you do it because you don't realize what you signed up for. And she was like, it was insane.
Yeah. I'm like I don't know. I've always been kind of interested in that kind of stuff, and I'm, you know, kind of don't want to take ayahuasca to like get there. So maybe.
Yeah, there's so many other ways to do it, right? Like,
There is.
and that's how I feel about all those plant medicines is like if someone feels called to that, okay, well then follow the call, right? I'm
Yes.
personally not saying I'm never not going to, but at this point in my life, I've never felt like I've had the opportunity. Multiple people have come to me and they're like, hey, I have a shaman coming to this, or do you want to go here or whatever? And I've just never been, I'm always just like, not now, not
Yeah.
yet. Especially if like, Rick Rubin says you can do it with breath work, then he's right. I trust him.
Yeah.
And now Julie. I
Yeah,
trust Julie probably
exactly.
even more than Rick Rubin.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Taryn, will you let everyone know how they can find you on Instagram or look up your website for your photography
Yeah.
business?
My photography business is called Blue Hippo Photography. Um, I named it that 13 years ago. Would have not named it that now. But it's BLUHIPPO photography. That's my website.com, or you can find me on Instagram under the same thing, or seniors. It's blue hippo underscore seniors. That's how you can
Cool.
Do
find
you
me.
like
Or you can
hippos?
find me in the studio almost every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Almost
Or come take a
always
visit.
at 9 o'clock on a Friday. That's what I call church.
Yes.
Yeah, with May.
Yes, yes, yes.
The best 9 a.m. day of the week for me. I love that class so much.
Yeah, it's a good way to start the weekend.
It
It's
is
like,
indeed.
yeah, always really,
Wait. Last question. Do you love hippopotamuses?
no. I
Okay.
mean, they're fine. I'll tell you quickly I'll tell you quickly why I named it that. So, my finger, do you guys see my finger?
Oh, yeah.
I broke it when I was 2 years old. My brother, by accident, slammed it in a door. Had like a cast up to here. They were not sure when the cast came off, like if it would be attached. When I was in the hospital, my grandfather gave me like this blue hippo, like stuffed animal. It was like had a bandage or whatever. And you know that like dream state where you're like, you think of like you solve the world's problems and then you fall asleep and then you couldn't remember it. Well, I was trying to think of a name for my business. I did not, my maiden name was Siegelstrom. And so like I was like, I don't want anything like and I was also not Siegelstrom when I started my business. I was Boyd, but it was just like one of those things where I'm like, it's hard to remember people's names and then how do you spell it and then all this other stuff. And so knew I wanted to be a children's photographer. I was never a wedding photographer. And at the time I like thought, so I'm like getting ready to fall asleep and I like wanted to like kind of see if there was like some way I could like name it something that meant something to me. And I was like, Blue Hippo Photography. And then like that was how it came about. And it was so cute. But like, I don't know that I necessarily think like my work is cute. And like even my family work, I don't find it to be cute. And so I just had like, I just redid my website last year at this time. And I was like, should I do a whole rebrand and just like name it my name? And I decided against it because it really would have like with search engine optimization and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just keeping it. But anyway, that's where people
It's a good story.
they'll send me like a video and be like, look, a hippo. And I'm like, I do think that they're cute, but like it's not like I don't
An
know.
obsession.
Yeah, like just send me cats and dogs. I'm good. I mean, all animals, I guess, but or
Yeah.
bears. I love bears. I always say I will die because I'll try to hug a bear. You guys ever like wonder
I
how
know exactly where we can go to do that.
where?
Yellowstone. We're gonna go to Yellowstone. We'll go for a hike. We'll have peanut butter and
Yellowstone.
jelly sandwiches on our person. They'll come right to us.
Yes, I
Wow.
camped out in Yellowstone and
Me too.
we
And
did
we
see
spent
it.
an hour hanging our food on a tree 50 feet away from our site, like you're supposed to. And I went back into my tent, and my fucking friend was eating peanut butter crackers in our tent after we spent an hour hanging our food. And then, fun fact, we woke up in the morning. She was dead asleep, happy camper. I'm up all night,
Literally.
petrified at every little sound. And then I must have fallen asleep for a period of time because when I woke up, our tent was collapsed on us. And so we hiked back out and we went back to our business, and we got notifications from like the ranger station the next day to not hike at Heart Lake because there's a grizzly bear knocking down tents. And I was like, oh, you dumb bitch. You almost got us fucking killed because of your peanut butter crackers. And
That's gonna be Taryn.
I still once a week text her and I'm like, remember that time you ate peanut butter crackers in Yellowstone National Park in a tent? Anyway, so we can
See,
recreate that.
I would have been like, if they would have been outside my
Like,
tent, I would have
here,
been
kitty,
like, come
kitty.
here, give me that
You'd have
hug.
been disemboweled, and I would have had to carry your corpse out of the hike. 6 miles. That's a long time to carry a corpse.
That is. That
I
is.
really truly believe that I am like an animal whisperer and they all know that I am not going to like harm them. So I think that would hug me back.
We could test this theory when we're both ready to die. We'll test this theory.
When you're
And
80 and
either,
you're the cute little old lady in the
yeah,
back of the yoga studio, and then you're like, okay, now it's time. Let's see if he'll hug
time to
me
go to
back.
Yellowstone and eat a peanut butter sandwich at Heart Lake and see if the grizzly bear likes us or if we're going to get disemboweled and left for dead.
It's okay. When I'm 100, that's what I'll do. I'll feed myself to the bears.
Actually sounds like a
After
great
I
way
have,
to go.
yeah.
Just get re-entered into the earth. You'll come out the other end and you'll just like become a tree or something.
Become a grizzly bear.
Yeah. Oh
Or
yeah,
that.
that'd be great.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, now that we know Taryn's gonna be reincarnated as a bear,
Yeah.
um, any final thoughts? Or should we let that be our final thought?
That should be our final
Yeah,
thought.
agreed. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Taryn. This has been awesome. We can't wait to
Yes.
share this with our little but growing community. And thank you always, May. This was just such a special treat, and we appreciate you and love you so much.
Love you guys. Thank you. I feel honored to have been asked.
Of course.
Feel
All
honored
right.
you joined. I'll see you probably tomorrow.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.